One of the things that you did help me adjust quite a bit was my sleep. And I had built up this weird pattern that was starting, I thought, to work for me. I would sleep 3 hours a night, 2 nights in a row, and then I would sleep 9 hours on the third night. I don't know why that worked for me at the time, but eventually it stopped working. And I realized that there were just a lot of small adjustments that I needed to make with screens and getting sunlight in the morning. Can we talk a little about some of those basic things that will help out with sleep quite a bit?
Yeah.
And why is sleep so important, and why do we neglect it so much?
Yeah. I mean, I can talk about some of the practical concerns because I'm definitely living it, but Tommy's the neuroscientist. Perhaps you should talk about why sleep's so important.
Oh, well, there's both sides of that are very important, but in terms of the practicality and then the science. But so essentially, sleep is the only time that you have for a lot of the tissues in the body to repair. And that goes from the brain all the way out to the skin. So there's even some really interesting data on how light at the wrong time on the skin at night when the skin is supposed to be repairing itself, that sort of predisposes you to things like skin cancers. So even like sleep and darkness at the right time, that's when the body repairs itself, essentially. That's when the brain flushes out all the stuff that's been accumulating during the day as you've been thinking and doing whatever it is that you do during the day. And in terms of the light exposure, there's two important parts to it. So there's sunlight during the day, and which helps time everything that happens in the body happens on what we call a circadian rhythm. So during circadian means roughly a day. So it happens at a specific time during the day, and there are hundreds of genes and proteins and things that your body makes in different amounts depending on the time of day. And the way that your body knows what time of day it is it should be sunlight, bright light during the day. And right now we're inside. This would be nowhere near enough light to set a circadian rhythm, even though it feels bright to us compared to what you get from sunlight. It's really nothing. It's a fraction. And then at night, you need darkness because that tells your body that it's nighttime, but you produce a hormone called melatonin, which some people may have taken to try and help them sleep because they spend their evenings staring at a screen, which suppresses their body making melatonin. So blue and green lights, particularly, and the bright LEDs that we get on screens, phones and computer screens,
and televisions,
everything, it's really good at suppressing our melatonin production. And melatonin, so it times the clock, it sets our metabolism, but it also has some antioxidant effects, anti-cancer effects. They're using it in for studies to try and repair injured brains as part of cancer therapy. So melatonin has all these amazing effects, yet we're suppressing it by watching all these screens at night. And so the two ways to prevent that is to make sure we get sun during the day, which again sort of helps prime us to make melatonin at night, and then also just avoid those bright lights at night.
Yeah. And I've added a few things, and you and I talked about this a little bit, like a sleep mask and some earplugs and just some really basic things, but it had more to do with, I think, the practice of getting sunlight as soon as it's available. I tend to still wake up. I'm just an early bird, so I still wake up before the sun is up, and so I got this thing called a human charger. And I don't know what the science is behind it. You've sent me a few studies on it, but what are your thoughts on sort of the artificial light from that?
So I think that can help. It's
if nothing else, it certainly gives me the placebo.
We're big fans of the placebo. If you can get a placebo from something that has literally zero downsides, that's great. If it makes you feel better, then
and it's not displacing something better.
And it's not displacing something better. Yeah.
There you go.
But it's really good for jet lag in particular. So if you're trying to time your circadian rhythm to something that you're about to go to or somewhere where you've just arrived, part of jet lag is the fact that your body has no idea what time of day it is, right? And so then the light in the day and darkness at night is a big part of that. So the human charger has some great evidence for that. But then for the same reason, if you're not going to be exposed to bright light, then making sure that your body is getting some of those cues at the right time, even if it's not from sunlight, I think can have a big benefit. So it makes sense.
Yeah, and I was living in Montana at the time too, so all winter it's dark and cloudy, and the sun doesn't even come up until, I swear, it's, what does it show, like 10 a.m. or something crazy.
But it's still bright out though, right? Compared compared to what the light level of light that you experience indoors.
True.
You need to get a light meter out.
But
and measure it.
sunrise wasn't until like 10 a.m. and I would get
really?
up. Yeah, I would get up at like 4 or 5 a.m.
Oh, wow, okay.
And so even between, I'd have 5 hours between sunrise, even though it was cloudy. Yes, you would still have brightness, but it was diffused through many
realize it was
layers
that
of
far
clouds.
north.
Yeah. I mean, it's Canada basically.